Welcome to podcast Basira Noor. This is Safi Musa, your host, and we have a new guest talking about something and different aspect in Enneagram. And as you know, we are now covering the conference in 2026 here in Cairo, and it's my pleasure to have our guest today, Frederic. Hi, Frederic. How are you?
Very good. Thank you for having me on your podcast.
It's really a pleasure and blessing at the same time because I'm always curious to know more about the field you are in now. But before that, we have a common question at the beginning. Who is Frederic the human?
You start really with a very difficult question,
this
right?
Is every guest they talk about it and just...
Your question actually makes me think, because Frederic the human is somebody who's probably not even interested in being here.
Wow.
I mean, not being interested in the conference. And it actually relates very much to the processes that I'm going through myself now at the conference, because I feel that maybe this is the last conference that I'm attending. Because there is a time of coming and going. And the human inside of me is like, you can talk about the Enneagram as much as you want, but it's more about what you do with your life. I mean, it's how you really integrate the Enneagram.
Yes.
There is a moment that you have absorbed everything you could absorb from all the brilliant teachers that are here. And at some point, it's like you're satiated. It's like you have enough of it. And it's like, okay, and now I find other places. I do something else with my life. And I think this is the human Frederic, the Frederic that actually just wants to play with the kids, sit behind the piano, play some music, chat with my friends, maybe dance, something like that. And actually not deal with all these mental constructs without dealing with all this knowledge.
That was very authentic and honest. Honestly, Frederic, I haven't ever, since I started the podcast 1.5 years now, received such, oh my God, you touched my heart with the answer, because you are so open to truly connect with the human inside of you. So tell me about now your experience in Cairo this time. How do you see? This is the second time you told me you are attending a conference in Cairo.
Second time I attend a conference in Cairo. It's probably my 10th Enneagram conference or something like that.
All around the world.
And I think that, first of all, Egypt has something special. The conferences, I like the conferences the most in Egypt compared to the other places, because there's something in the air. I don't know what it is. Mm-hmm. But energetically, there is a different quality to it. And for me, the conference here is more about reconnecting with people that I didn't see for a long time.
Beautiful.
I'm not really attending many of the sessions, not because they're not interesting, but for me, it's more about being in the atmosphere of other people. It's more about this, the collective thing of sitting together, having the opportunity to talk, exchange views, hearing like, look, we didn't see each other for a few years. Like, what happened to you? Like, where are you now? And not like, where are you now geographically or so, because people are moving all around the world. But more about like what's happening inside of you. What's happening to you? What are the things that you've gone through? And so I really want to make time being here to connect with other people. Because in my daily life, it's a very busy pace. And we're often in a very reactive mode. So here I really want to more talk to the people and be present when I listen to them. I call it actually using meditation in daily life. Meditation is just about calming down, not overthinking, and being fully present and taking in what's coming. So that's what I want to do here. I just want to allow myself the time and the space to be with people and to truly listen to them, which is very difficult to do in the hectic world, the chaotic world that we're living in right now. And actually, that's the biggest value for me. It's not the teachings. It's not what the people are saying in the classrooms and so on. But it's the human connection. And again, the human comes up here, right?
Yes. I was just going to
So I'm more interested in the human connection than the knowledge. Because at the end of the day, the knowledge is very useful to get from where we were to where we should be going to. But that's something, and I think there's actually some, I don't remember which of the holy scriptures it is. I think it may be the Bhagavad Gita that at the end says like, and now forget everything.
Oh,
so the same here, it's like you study the Enneagram, you use it, you integrate it, and then you forget about it. Like in the beginning when you study the Enneagram, you want to type everybody, you want to type your family, your friends, your cat.
I see everyone as numbers, you know.
Indeed.
Number.
But after some time, it's like, whatever, I don't care about the type of people anymore. I'm not even thinking about it anymore. And not that it's not important, but it's just that I've incorporated what I had to incorporate. And now probably time to do something else.
By the way, this is really amazing because in one phase in my life also, I was doing certain things in Dubai. I am based in Dubai. Egyptian lives there. Yeah. So I felt so connected to a job, and I opened a clinic there. I was so connected to the clinic, but when another calling came, I just left everything because that was the phase. I integrated certain things in my life, and that was it. Now, Frederic, let's talk about your session on the stage, this time in the conference. If you can give us a hint, what would it be about?
Yeah. So something that I have been working on for the last 8-9 years or so is trying to see how the Enneagram, the types, and also the instincts and the levels of development, how they have an impact on the sexual experience. Because sexuality is part of human nature, it's part of our life. But very often we're forgetting about it. And if we're looking at what is truly growth, growth is not dealing with the things that are easy, it's dealing with the taboos. We live in an environment where sex and sexuality are a taboo. It's very much sex and death. These are the big two taboos that we have. I'm not going to speak about your society, but I'm going to talk about the Western civilization.
I thought it's only in my society. Taboos only here, not even in Europe.
No, look, I mean, people don't talk openly about sex, and I'm not saying that we should be talking openly about sex, but it's about integrating it in our lives. And the same with death. We're no longer used to seeing people that are dying or somebody who has died. I mean, if somebody dies in Europe, I mean, you try to get rid of the body somewhere in a hospital, in a mortuarium, and we don't see the process. We don't know how to deal with that. So I think the real growth is happening when we really get in touch with these aspects that are taboo for us,
yes,
the things that we have been repressing. If you look at the evolution of humanity, there's a reason why the topic of sex has been repressed. There's a very good reason for it.
Tell me.
But you need to also transcend it. Sex has been repressed because before that, people were just in a very abusive, egocentric state of mind. If everybody is if you have a society that is lawless, where you can just have sexual abuse, where you can just have a sexual relationship with somebody and then tell that woman like, oh, I don't care about you anymore. I don't even care about you. You can just go do whatever you want to do, but not my problem. At the end of the day, your society is going to collapse.
Yes.
So it's very important to create some kind of stability. And in order to do that in society, sex had to be repressed because there was too much abuse before that. But the question is, maybe, I mean, it's important to understand how we got to this repression and the purpose it served. But even more important is now that we are here with this sexual repression, how do we move further? How do we transcend it? Because the solution is not to go to a state where sex is just everywhere and so on. Like if you look, for example, in the West, like media and so on, it's a very sexualized content very often. That's not healthier. I mean, if you either repress it or it's like everywhere, it's not a healthy thing. It's more about how do you give it the right place, because sex is there, we're all the result of a sexual act. And then it's important to understand, like, how do I as a person deal with it? How do I feel in my sexual relationship with my spouse? what are the issues? And if you look at the Enneagram, it can really help you understand why people either have sexual dissatisfaction, why they talk about alleged non-compatibility. And you can bring it down to two main reasons. The first is that the instincts, they give a certain energetic quality to how we experience sex and sexuality. And if people have different instincts, it feels as if it's incompatible, but that's not really a case. It's just because we approach it in a different way. So incompatibility to me is not necessarily about being different. It's more about the unwillingness to see the differences and have understanding for each other and meet somewhere in a place that it suits both. So that's the first big
the
area.
connection maybe, or the communication.
Communication, indeed, because at the end of the day, people who are, let's say, dissatisfied in their sexual relationship or anything like that, it's not about changing necessarily anything in the physical act. Most often it's changing the communication about it.
Yes. Okay.
Because, the sexual act is between two people. If you don't communicate, you don't know what your partner likes, what your partner would like to experience, how you are feeling, and so on. If there is a sexual act and there is no communication, then there is no sexual act between two people. It's as if both are having their own experience.
That's true.
So that's why the communication is indeed the most important thing. And in order to bridge this alleged incompatibility, it's only about being open. It's about being open to the other's experience, and have a mature discussion about it. Because if we're looking the whole issue about compatibility and relationships, when people say that they're incompatible, so what? What makes a healthy marriage? It's not the compatibility that's going to determine if people are going to be happy together. It's their ability to deal with the differences. It's the ability to deal with the incompatibility, and the same with sex. Yes, we're all different, and there is nothing like magical that you will be with a certain person and everything's going to be fine. No, not at all. That's a little bit, I would call it almost infantile. It's pretty immature. Maturity is about how do you deal with the differences. And so the instincts are very important. Now, the second very important thing is that humans are meaning-making. We want to understand things. And if we don't understand things, we're looking for a meaning. Something happened, there must be a bigger reason for it.
Yes.
I'm supposed to experience something. Yes. And that's great. And it helps us to go through life. But sex has no meaning. Sex has a certain function. You have sex in order to procreate. Without the sexual act, you're not going to have offspring. Sex is a very good tool for recreation. It's resetting your nervous system. The sexual act actually helps you to just recalibrate everything that's happening inside of you and to become more grounded, to become more at ease. And the third thing is relation. Sex is a very good way to bond. It releases the oxytocin. It makes you care for the other person. Sex is not meant to feel loved. It's not there to feel strong. It's not there to feel powerful. Not at all. But people are looking for that very often.
The meaning.
Indeed, they're looking for a meaning. By attributing a meaning to the sexual act and looking for it, you're not going to find it. It's like if you go to the bakery and you ask in the bakery, like, I want to buy some chicken, you're not going to find it. So the same happens in sex. People are looking for something that they're not going to find there. And then they end up being frustrated because they don't find what they were looking for. Well, they were looking for the wrong thing in the first place. So that's very important to see that, like, the question of, like, why do you have sex? What are you looking for?
So what I understand from you now, Frederic, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's like a mechanical, neuroscientific release of the body, biological one, let's say. And because of this biology, like, this is how we are, how we were created. And so the action itself, it's natural. It doesn't have to have a meaning behind it, like loved or.
Exactly. If you want to look, if you use it as an expression of love, that's great. And that's at a rather high level of integration, psychological maturity, and so on and so on. But then the question is, what is love? What is love? Because very often when people say like, oh, I cannot live without that person and I'm not going to allow the person to live without me, that's not love.
Of course, this is attachment.
That's consumption.
Yes.
That's using the other person.
Yes.
Love is not something that happens to you. Love is an expression of a certain care. It's you do something for the other person. Love is not something that overcomes you. It's it's an active engagement. So if people use sex as a tool to express this love, yes, then it is great. But it's not that there's a purpose behind it or anything like that, and it also doesn't have a specific meaning or so.
I like that because you put everything into perspective. Mm-hmm. Like, this is 1 + 1 = 2. Sometimes we do this and it's okay if we want a very high meaning and creation, and, especially in the Far East, civilization and archetypes, you will always find that this is the connection and this harmony between the male divine feminine and divine masculine and all of that, and nothing is wrong or right, but you put it into like 1 + 1 = 2, and we are all living it. I was so kind of touched with when you were talking, because I am 34 years marriage. And like you said, it's how the couple, the healthy marriage is about how the couple, they deal with the indifference. Mm-hmm. And when you do that, you will do it in every aspect, in every field, starting from sex to anything else.
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe I quickly want to come back on this thing you said about this feminine and masculine. For some people, it's really like they want to use sex as a way of like connecting to their masculine and so on.
Yeah.
If that works, great.
Yes.
But if that becomes a source of suffering, then you have a problem. Mm. I mean, for example, there are some people who say like, oh yeah, sex has to be like ecstatic. For some people, they don't care if it's ecstatic or not.
I agree.
And that's fine. If that is how you experience it and you're okay with that and you have a good connection with your spouse, like, why would you seek something that you're not looking for just because you read it somewhere? That's completely irrelevant. But for those who are seeking it and not finding it, that's where the problem starts.
It can ruin their marriage. It can ruin their lives.
Indeed, it can really ruin the whole relationship just because they're so fixated. They have this attachment to the idea of what they should be achieving. And that's why, actually, at the end of the day, I believe people who approach sex as a spiritual practice will always be happy with the sex life. Because what is a spiritual practice? No matter what you do, if it is praying or meditating or doing charity or anything like that, you do it in a state of presence. You dedicate yourself fully to it. You're not getting distracted. You're not dealing with other things. You do it to the best of your abilities and without any attachment to the outcome.
That's true.
If this is how you're going to approach the sexual act, you're never going to be disappointed. You're never going to be unhappy. You will just be very happy with the process of what you are doing in the moment.
Thank you, Frederic. That was really very, I will tell you, it's a different point of view, because it's I can't say right or wrong again, because whatever is fitting with you, fitting your lifestyle, suits your also belief system and the culture you are coming from. So do whatever you like, but don't make something you listen to or you heard to be a suffering while you are living your normal life. Very thankful, Frederic, for this beautiful interview, because you opened my eyes. I learned a lot from you, and you opened my eyes to too many new things about humanity, about human connection inside. And I hope your stay in Cairo, the rest of your stay, to be really very fruitful and very good. And
thank you very much.
Make your own connections. It's beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Frederic. That was podcast Basira Noor, and this is Safi Musa. We'll see you with a new guest very soon. Thank you.